Good morning to all. Myself, Mr. Amudhavalli, Professor at Sri Lakshminarayana College of Nursing. So today, my topic is about stress and its adaptation. So stress and its management. So stress. So we are facing every day in our life. So the thing is how we are managing and how we are overcoming and how we are facing the challenges in everyday issues. So what are the adaptive strategies? So what are the coping mechanisms? Then what are the defenses we are using in our day-to-day life activities? So that we can see. So stress. So that is a part of life. Everyone feels stress at one time or another. The way of stress, the way of experiencing the stress, or that is somehow it is unique and it is depends upon the responses. Differs from individual to individual. So the process of responding of stress, it differs from dynamic as well as the constant, and it is stress, it is a holistic, which means that is the physical, emotional, and the social well-being. So we are facing every day in your life. So how we are overcoming, so how we are responding towards the stress. So that is the thing. So stress. So what is the condition in which the human body responds responding to changing, and that's the normal balanced state, which means that is the how your body is getting regaining into the normal state, which we call this the homeostasis mechanism. So what is the response? What is the response? So stress, when we observe the stress, so we can feel that is the we can have these certain physiological changes in our body. So how your body is exposing towards the stress, how your body is changing into the environment, then how your body is challenging the threat or danger that can have it as positive as well as the negative effects also. So it is the condition in which the body, that is the human body, responding towards the normal balancing state. So stressor is nothing but that is the thing which is producing the stress. That is the stimuli which causing the stress. So it may be like positive as well as the negative aspect. So here stressors are themselves neither positive or negative, but they can have the positive or negative effects as the person's response to the changes, which means that is the how the person is responding, how the person is adapting, then how the person is like facing the challenges. So stressor is nothing but so the stimuli, what is the stimuli which produces the stress, that is the thing which causes the stress. Here the two terminologies and one more, that is the adaptation. Adaptation is nothing but, as we know, that is nothing but it is a coping mechanism, how we are adapting, how we are adjusting to the real life environment, how we are adjusting to the stress. So here, when the person is in a threatening situation, immediate response occur. So those response are often voluntary or called as the coping mechanism. So somehow we are managing and somehow we are using our coping mechanism as well as our adaptive strategies. So what type of adaptive strategies we are using? So what type of defenses or in control? So that we call as the coping strategies or adaptation. That is how we are adjusting with the real life situations, how we are adapting with the stress. So the change that takes place as a result of the responses to the stressor is adaptation. That is the change. Yes, change, which means that that's what I said. So it is nothing but it is the like changing in the environment as well as the how we are reacting towards the stress. Yes, it may be a positive or negative, it doesn't matter. So how we are adapting, how we are coping up, how we are like controlling our emotions, what type of strategies, what type of like coping mechanisms we are using to overcome the stress. So that is adaptation. So next is homeostasis. Homeostasis is nothing but that is the physiological mechanism within the body responses to the internal changes to maintain relative constancy in the internal environment, which means it is called as the regaining into the normal state. Once the body faces the stress. So after that, after the adaptations, after the coping mechanisms, after the using of strategies, how our body is coping up and how our body is regaining into the normal state. So that is called as the homeostasis. Here we called it. Here we have the two types of mechanisms, like physiological as well as the psychological. Physiological, as we know, that is nothing but that is related to our bodily changes or bodily reactions after regaining into your normal state. Psychological, it is related to our like mind and soul. So how our mind, how our mental health will be during stress, then how it is regaining into the normal state. So that is the homeostasis. It is nothing but that is the bodily response within the have maintained a relative constancy to the external environment, that is regaining into the normal state. So physiological homeostasis, once the stress occurs, so automatically autonomic nervous system induces the endocrine system that it controls the homeostasis. Yes, I have the person is in stress, so you can like stimulate, you can stimulate the endocrine system, like you can can't able to concentrate on normal activities, so our bodily changes like increased anxiety, palpitations, so everything it stimulates, which is by the autonomic nervous system. So that is called as the physiologic homeostasis. That is the bodily changes which occur during the stress. This bodily changes is induced by autonomic nervous system and endocrine system. So it occurs self-regulatory without conscious thought and usually functions to the abnormal conditions. Yes, so it does usually happens when the body receives the stress, when the body is getting the stress. So automatically the stimuli passes, that is the signal passes into the autonomic nervous system, and and the endocrine system gets started. That is the body is in stress, so you can like you can engage, you can you can ready to face the abnormal conditions. So whatever that I said, that is the anxiety, palpitations, and fear, and everything. Physiological changes can occur during the physiological homeostasis. So short term and long term can threaten the physiological homeostasis and result in illness. So that is the prolonged stress which results in the illness. That is the chronic illness. You can say it as cancer, then peptic ulcers, so many medical conditions, so many like chronic conditions we can get. So what are the types of physiological homeostasis? Here we have like local adaptation response and general adaptation syndrome. Local adaptation. So which local adaptation is, that is the reflex pain response and inflammatory response. So which means that is the three stages here in local adaptations and general adaptations. So local adaptations, we have a reflex pain response and inflammatory response. And in general adaptation system, alarm reaction, stage of the system, and stage of exhaustion. Local adaptive response, it is completely depends upon the physiological regulations of our body due to the stress. The reflex pain response is I have pain, I have some of the physical signs and symptoms, that is the common signs and symptoms during stress, whatever the thing occurs. So that we call this the reflex pain response. Inflammatory response, as we know, that is due to the stimulation of the autonomic as well as the endocrine systems, those various physiological reactions which can lead to our inflammatory responses. Second one is the general adaptation system. So here we have three distinct stages, which means that is the alarm reaction stage, stage of resistance, and stage of exhaustion. Alarm reaction is nothing but, so before the stress occurs, the body is preparing to face the stress. Yes, the stress is going to face the stress. So I'm going to get ready to face these. So that we call it as the alarm reaction, which means in other term we call it as the fight or flight response, which that prepares the body for immediate actions. That is, the body is getting ready to face the stress. So that we call it as the alarm reaction. The body is getting ready. The body is preparing to face the stress. The body is getting ready for the immediate action. That we call as the alarm response. Yes. So alarm response, here we have stressors. So why this stress occurs? Due to so many causes, like biological causes, like environmental causes, social causes, then other causes. So stressors, it may be due to family relationship, stressor, as I said. So it is nothing but it is the stimuli which causes the stress, which induces the stress. Family relationship like disagreements, money worries, They need to succeed exams, sprints, editions, and illustrations. So these are all the factors which are producing the stress. So these and all we are facing in our day-to-day life activities alive. So the body is getting ready. The body is preparing itself to face those type of stress. Yes, alarm. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to face the stress. I'm ready to face the family disagreements. I'm ready to face the new critical situations I'm going to face with the new environment. So these are all the factors which produces stress. Then our body is getting prepared, getting ready to face the stress. So at last, if the coping mechanism is good, if the coping mechanism is good, which means that is the person is a healthy individual. The coping mechanism is poor. That is the patient can't able to, that is the client can't able to, person can't able to face the stress or face the those type of causes, can't able to face those type of stress. So the individual is considered as the mentally unhealthy, mentally ill people. Yes. So the defenses, all our emotions, first of all, it should be in control for all the human beings. If they are diverting themselves with the relaxations, then with the whatever things they like, whatever favorite hobbies they like, so that coping mechanism is yes, they are taking so many diversions. So the coping mechanism that is the individual is trained. They can't able to cope up, so they can face so many medical physical illnesses and so many psychological problems also. So that is called as the that is the pre-stage, first stage of general adaptation syndrome. Yes, here we have the like two stages, that is the two stages of physiological homeostasis, local adaptation and general adaptation. So local adaptation, that is the it is of reflex and brain inflammatory response, which is due to the induction or stimulation of the endocrine as well as the autonomic nervous system. The general adaptation system syndrome, that is of three stages: alarm reaction, stage of resistance, and stage of exhaustion. Alarm reaction is nothing but that is the preparation of the body, preparing the stress, that is the facing the stress. So stage of resistance. Stage of resistance is nothing but that is the body is once the stress occurs, so the body affects the stress. How the body gets affected by the stress. So that is the resistance, which means protecting against. We can say protecting against. So once the stage occurs, we can have the so many yes. I had stress. I got stress. So I have so many physical illnesses it can affect our lower our body, coming to the integumentary system, acne and psoriasis, eczema, dermatitis, breakouts and skin rashes in gastrointestinal, like peptic ulcer, food allergies, reflex disorder and weight fluctuations. And in pancreas, there is elevations of insulin, then diabetes, damage to arteries and obesity. Then coming to the immune system, that is the inflammatory responses, then leads to varieties of chronic illnesses. Then definitely there is some mood fluctuations, then concentration disabilities will be there. Then coming to the cardiovascular, increased blood pressure, increased heart attack and stroke and higher cholesterol. Then coming to the intestines, so decreased nutrient absorption, reduced metabolism, and decreased enzymatic output. Reproductive system, that is increased libido, and joint and muscles, that is musculoskeletal system. So aches, pains, then inflammations, tensions. These are all the common signs and symptoms. Common features, that is the common stress affects our body. So that we call this the like stage of resistance. So what is the second stage, which means that is the body is protecting ourselves from the stress. So once the this stage, when the person faces this stage, so this many problems that is the patient should be definitely yes. Once the stress affects the body, so if it does leads to so many physical changes. This physical changes should be in control. If it does not, then it leads to the chronic illnesses. So next one is the stage of adaptation or stage of resistant phase. Stage of, that is the third phase, which we call it as the relaxation phase. Once after the preparation, so after the physical effects of our body, so the body is getting regaining into our normal state. So that we call as the stage of adaptation phase. Here the body prepares for the long-term protection, secreting hormones to increase the blood sugar. That is the this phase is necessarily harmful, but must include periods of relaxation and rest to counterbalance the stress response, fatigue, concentration lapses, irritability, and lethargy result as the stress turns into negative. So once everything gets over, that is the body is regaining or coming into the normal state. That phase is called as the adaptation phase. Only thing is I'm ready to face the stress. I have good coping strategies. I have good adaptive mechanism. So I'm not. If it is not, that is the patient is considered as the abnormal or deviation in his normal behavior. So here we have seen the phases of stress. That is the alarm reaction, stage of resistance, and stage of exhaustion. Yes, stage of exhaustion. So this is what I said. So in critical situations, that is the adrenaline exhaustion leading to the decreased stress tolerance, progressive mental and physical exhaustion, illnesses, and collapse. So in this stage, so that is the patient once he recovers, that is the client recovers from all these stressful situations, that is the regaining into the normal state. That is the client is able to overcome, being able to face their daily issues. So that is exhaustion state. Then second type is the psychological homeostasis. So whatever psychological problems we are facing, so that that is after a time, it takes some time, it takes some break. Yes, after that is the body as well as the mind is regaining into the normal state. So that is called as the psychological homeostasis. So each person needs to feel love as a sense of belongingness, to feel safe, secure, and to have a self-esteem. So those needs are not met. So it leads to the improper coping mechanism and result in the emotional imbalance. How this psychological homeostasis happen? So once the basic need, once the individual has not able to face the have the basic needs, so definitely they will be having the improper coping mechanism, so which results in the emotional imbalances. So types of stress, that is the eustress, then the distress. Eustress that we know, that is the positive stress. This, for example, during pregnancy, so we are facing so many health complaints, then so many stress, psychological stress. So even though the output is positive, so that is positive stress, that is eustress. Then negative stress, so it is a contributory factor in minor conditions like headache, digestive problems, skin complaints, insomnia, and ulcers. So prolonged and unrelieved stress have harmful effects on mental, physical, and spiritual health. So negative stress, so whatever negative factors we are facing in our day-to-day life activities, that we call as the negative stress. Eustress is nothing but that is the positive stress, for example, during the childbearing practices. Yes. So next thing is how we are coping up. Then what are the adaptive strategies? What are the management techniques we are using to overcome this stress? So we can say like so many things, like types of stressors. Types of stressors, as we said, it is environmental, physiological, social, and thoughts. How the stress occurs: environmental due to the external circumstances, then physiological stressors due to the our physical complaints, social stressors due to poverty, unemployment, then our negative stick thoughts. It depends upon the individual to individual. So everyone may not unique. Yes, depends upon the thoughts that is the stress can occur. So these are all the factors that induces the stress. So how we are balancing, how we are using the stress. So what are the factors affecting stress and its adaptations? The source of stress, that is the experience of stress or experienced, then personal factors. So developmental stress is nothing but at each stages. During infancy, period, so we have some stress during toddler period, during like old age, during adult period. So that is developmental stress. Situational is nothing but during the situations, during at the time of incident, at the time of something happens. So that is situational stress. Then how we are overcoming. Types of stressors experience, that is the physical and psychological. Physical, as I said, due to the illnesses. Psychological, due to the fluctuations of our mind. Then personal factors. So these are all the factors affecting stress and its adaptations. If the stress is a normal, that is the human is using a proper coping mechanism, proper adaptive strategies, so the individual is called as the healthy individuals. So if the individual is not able to cope up with the real life situations, they can't able to use the coping mechanism properly. So that person is called as the mentally abnormal. Mentally, that is the mentally ill. Yes. Yes, psychological adaptation, stress adaptation, body-mind interaction, anxiety, and coping mechanism. Body-mind interaction is nothing but that is how our body as well as our mind is interacting, that is communicating, that is like interdependent to each other. Is you are facing. Yeah, yes, I have stress, but I can able to manage. So our body as well as the mind is both are interrelated and both are ready to face these challenges. Anxiety. So in order to alleviate the anxiety, so what are the techniques we can use? What are the like ways to alleviate the anxiety? Coping mechanisms. So what are the stress management techniques we are using? So these are all some of the adaptive strategies. So like body mind interactions. So as I said, so when the body and mind both are interrelated. So if there is a deficit in one factors, we have that is, we can face so many health illnesses like constipation, diarrhea, dilated pupils, dry mouth, headache, nausea, and sleep disturbances. So it may perceive the threat on an emotional level, and the body prepares itself to either resist the danger, to run away from it. Each person's reaction badly. So if the body and mind is not interacting, if the body and mind is not interrelated with each other, so the body is not responding, the mind is not responding, that is the human can face the threats of danger. So those are all the physical signs and symptoms if the body and mind is not working properly. Anxiety, one is mild, moderate, severe. So depends upon the categorization, depends upon the severity of the symptoms. We can able to plan the like therapies according to the severity of the anxieties. So here coping mechanism is the most important factors which we are facing, which we are having, which must have, every individual must have the coping mechanism. Not only we have so many coping mechanism like compensation, denial, displacement, introjection, projection, rationalization, reaction formation, repression, sublimation, undoing. I can say like compensation. Compensation is nothing but that is the, for example, if a child is, a baby is, if a student is poor in his academic activities, so they may be compensate the type of failures in their sports athlete, that is academic activities. So that we call as the compensation. Denial is nothing but that is the refusal of the refusal of the reality. The displacement, showing anger to someone who is very close, someone who is very like someone who is having in their personal relationship. So we can have so many types of coping mechanism. So this and all we can use, we can able to use on our day-to-day life activities. The rationalizations, like giving examples, repression, sublimation, undoing, reaction formations. So those type of coping mechanism, only thing is it all should be in control. That is the thing. So what are the interventions to reduce the anxiety? Definitely you need some regular exercises to maintain physical and emotional health. Rest and sleep, have some adequate rest and sleep. Nutrition plays an important role in maintaining the body's homeostasis mechanism as well as the encouraging the use of supportive system. So every individual, that is the their way of emotional support, their way of feelings, their way of internalization, everything is different. The thing is, the support system, the individual internal feelings as well as the individual's suppressions of the negative contents. So it should be exposed to limit there itself. So they are using the proper supportive system. So the individual, it helps to overcome the stress. So these are all the interventions to overcome the stress and its anxiety. So these are all about the models. Stress is a transaction model between the individual and the environment, like steward stress adaptations model. So I have applied this model. So coming to this stress and its management, management techniques, as we know. So what are the management we are using in our day-to-day life activities, like meditations, problem solving, relaxation, interpersonal relationship with therapy, music, awareness, meditations. So that is a part that is must in our human life. Then problem solving, first thing is you have to identify, that is the high risk management, identify your own problems and try to like overcome it. Relaxation technique is nothing but so hearing of music, concentrating on horticulture, concentrating on our favorite hobbies. We should have a definitely have a good interpersonal communication skill with each other. So whatever thing, whatever suppressed to negative contents that should be exposed, that should be like ventilated to your close to ones. So communication should be proper. Then concentrating, like having up with therapy is very good stress management techniques. So someone must want be fond of their pets. So it definitely it releases stress. Then hearing of music, then awareness. Awareness means so nowadays suicides in childhood, child abuses, harassments, these are all very common. So we must aware about those types of conditions and have, give a proper health educations, proper like awareness to the public. So then only we can able to control those type of like criminal activities, like behavioral disorders, conduct disorders. So, if the child is studying, we have to scrutinize the child from the starting itself. So, this is the good behavior, this is the bad behavior. So, we have to scrutinize. We have to, the child must aware about the positives and the negatives. So, that should be. So, these are all some of the stress management techniques we are using in our day-to-day life activities. So, coming to the conclusions, stress is every day in our facing every day in our day-to-day life. The only thing is what type of coping mechanism, then what type of adaptive strategies we are using in our day-to-day life activities. The coping mechanism is good. So the individual is called as the healthy individual. The coping mechanism as they can't able to overcome the stress. The coping mechanism is not adapting. So the individual have some deviations in their normal behavior. So we must take care those consideration, take we must take care about the those negative aspects and try to overcome and lead a healthy life. Thank you.